my veins. Blue and one I red, white and blue in my brain. I'm bulldog born, bulldog, that's my breed. I was born to follow where the bulldogs lead.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome the greatest and most celebrated Bulldog supporter of all time. She slayed the AFL Commission. She saved the club. She merged Oakley into outer space. It's the Footscray fire starter, the Queen of Berkeley Street. It's the doggy's favourite daughter. Ladies and gentlemen, Irene Chatfield, the one and only.
How you going, mate?
Well, I'm going absolutely fantastic, Chatty, and we are absolutely over the moon to have you on Inside the Kennel today.
Oh, thank you. It's a very good honour and a privilege. Thank you, because you've had so many great people on, and to have me on with all of them makes me feel really special.
Well, you absolutely should, Irene. You're so loved, and we want to ask you, where on earth did this love affair of this club start? Take us back to the beginning. How did you join and become a member of the Bulldogs? And tell us a bit about your family, please.
Oh yeah, well, Mum and Dad, they were football supporters, but not really keen. Dad was, Dad loved Carlton. He was passionate Carlton right through to he passed away, unfortunately. But Mum wasn't a follower of footy until we used to live up in Upway, and she wasn't a follower of footy till we shifted to Altona. When we were in Altona, this lady, Mrs. Kearney, next to us, lived next door to us. She said, oh, Evelyn, you have to go for a football team. She said, no, I'm not into football. If you live here, you have to barrack for Footscray. Because at that time we were Footscray Footy Club, great Footscray Footy Club. So Mum said, oh God, all right. So us girls decided to follow Mum, not Dad. And my brother, my younger brother, Mark, he followed the Bulldogs for quite a long time. But he didn't like us losing all the time. So he went to North, and well, look where they are. So I said to him, you should have stayed with the Bulldogs. You should have. But so about 5-year-old, I became a Bulldog supporter through Mum and Mrs. Kearney. She was crazy Bulldogs, Mrs. Kearney, and a lovely person, lovely family. And so I started following them, and we shifted. That's when we shifted up to Upway, and I decided to keep following the dogs, because I just loved them. I thought they were just ants pants great, and so I thought, just keep going. And then when I was 11, I started getting on the train because fortunately back then they were safe. So I used to get on the train and go to the footy by myself, with a couple of friends, and it was awesome. And then when I got older, Mum just, I'll go with you, to make sure everything's okay. And my sister decided to come, so we just the three of us all joined in, and it's not just going to the footy. You meet some absolutely fantastic people, and they're friends for life. They become, because that we all think the same. Bulldogs crazy, and we're just passionate to go and see them every week. I love seeing the under-9. We'd go there for the under-19s, the reserves, the first, just exceptional. To watch them all growing up and see how they go, so which is going to be the best for the future in the first. And as I said, like Jean and Bob and just all great people, Rob and Chris, there's just so many, Sharon, Vicky, everyone into it. It's like you could go on forever with the crowd, Donna and Troy and Tawara, and it's just, they're friends for life. When you get them, they're friends for life. And I think it's just a great thing to be at. And our club, I believe, is just perfect to be involved in. And I was always hanging around the club. Before the 89 Fightback, I used to be the only lady there at training. All the men were there, and the players, and the ball people, and the volunteers, and like Jack McGovern, Lou Thompson, Ben Bradley, all of them. They just Billy. They just always there, and they'd always come up and have a chat to you. The players would have a chat to you, coaches, they're just so friendly and open, and it's exceptional to be involved with them. And I just love going to training, and I love that. I loved the training then, because it was late in the afternoon, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which was good. Not like damn now, 9 o'clock, 9:30. God, it gives a chance. You got to get out of bed, So yeah, but if they can do it, well, you do it too. So yeah, and I haven't been able to get too much training this year because of not being too crash hot. So and the times, but next year I'm hoping when they get back to the oval, our great ground, that they'll go back to like about 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 3:30 in the afternoon, which makes it easy for a lot of people to get there. So more supporters can go and show how great they think their club is. So that's what I'm hoping anyway.
Can I ask you as well? Bulldog supporters, they're an emotional lot, aren't we? We're invested, and when we win, we feel that, but we also feel the pain when things don't go our way. Have you got any messages for supporters who can waver in their support and who lose faith at times? What's your message to those supporters?
I would say to them, just stick to it. Okay, things get bad. They get bad on the field, but things get bad in life too. But you don't give up in life. You've got to keep fighting no matter what. If the woes of being thrashed or just defeated, and you think, oh, what the hell? What's it for? It's to come the next week to see a win, and that's what you do. It's the same in life. You don't give up. You just got to keep trying, and with all your heart and soul, you've got to keep going and follow those fellas because they are worthy. They really are, and they like you to be there to cheer them on. So just keep going and never give up. My auntie gave me a plaque years ago when I was very, very sick, and she gave it to me and had on it. It's beautiful reading. Never give up. And if a lot of people could see that, they would never give up. You don't. You keep fighting no matter what goes on in life or on the football field. Just fight. Just say I'm stronger than what that is that's hurting me, and just keep going.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Beautiful words, Irene. Now, we want to ask you, who is some of your early favourites? You talk about going to training and, I can imagine you sitting there cheering them on. Who are the sort of the ones in the early days that absolutely captured your imagination?
Well, there was Georgie Bissett. I love Georgie Bissett. Scott Wine, Gary Dempsey. There was a guy there called Glenn Gingell. I used to like him, and unfortunately, he didn't keep playing for us. But hell of a nice guy, and I always liked him. There was quite a lot of young ones, and like Ian Bryant. I used to see Ian Bryant a lot. He used to always be down the club, and Ross Abbey. But Gary Dempsey, he stood out. He was great. I actually have his photo on my wall in my bedroom. So, and he signed it for me. So when he won the 1975 Brownlow medal, yeah, I talked the guy into doing me a couple. So yeah, so it was really good. Oh, there's the Dougie Hawkins, Leon Cameron when he came in at 1990, and Chris Grant, but Dougie I love, and Leon, he was such a nice guy. He was always nice to you and everything. And when we went to GWS to see us play up there, he used to always speak. So, absolutely obsessional. Tony Bahaja, I liked him. Choco, Choco Royal, I liked him because, what I liked about Bahaja and Royal was they used to stand, and Bissett, little Georgie, they used to stand around the back of the pack and then grab that's what we don't do too much now. We need to do more of. Because you say, oh, if only we were at the back of the pack and not that stupid opposition side, we would have got a goal. But they were always little gold sneaks. But Dougie running around his wing like absolutely, really, really, really special. I like Terry Wallace. I like him as a player and a coach. A great coach. I really do. Terry Wheeler, he was really good. I've actually got an old jumper still with Terry Wheeler on it. So I showed him there a couple of years ago. So it was really good. So they're quite exceptional players. And of course now you've got the Bont, you've got Bailey Smith. I love Bailey Smith. Tom Libertori. I was actually talking to Tom on Thursday, so it was really good. Showing him my badge because on my scuff I've got Tom and Tony. Yes. And the same with Sam Darcy. I've got Sam Darcy and Luke Darcy because really? It looks really good. Unfortunately, I have to take the Hunters off because they're gone now. So you can't have them on and they're gone. But I do have, like on my scarf, I've got Dougie, Chris, Bobby Murphy. I've got a sort of a photo of Charlie Sutton, but not a proper one like they did because like back in those days they didn't have too many things. But it's really, really cool. And You know, there's just so many players. I mean, you love them all. I mean, how could you not? You know, they're a Bulldog player. You've got to love them all, no matter what they are. And what you think of. Although, I say that there was one I didn't like, but I won't mention that one. Anyway, he wasn't a Bulldog player in my books. He came from another club, so he was not much. But the ones that sort of come through the ranks and become a Bulldog player, they're staunch. And they try their heart out. I mean, I know this year's been crap, but, you know, every club has their shockers, and well, we've had a couple this year, but we'll pick up. There's no doubt about it that next year, you know, like we're bound to get a couple in the draft. You know, that'll help along the way. And you know, I love Waitman. He's a little fire. You know, really good. Norton, Hugo Hagen's improved this year greatly, and I think next year it'll be way better. English, there's Kieran O'Brien. You know, he's got a lot going for him. He's going to be really good. It was great to see Liam Jones back. He was inspirational in a lot of games. He was great. Unfortunately, he just got hurt a bit, and you know, bad luck happens. You know, what can you do about it? You just got to get better, and we've got great doctors to help them on their way, so it's good. And we've had some really great doctors in the past. You know, like Jake. Jake was just so good. I loved him. He's a cute little fella. Yeah, he's all good. So great, and we've got good staff. You know, and all the Anise, she's there too. You know, she's been there since year dot and loves the club. And you've got people that they're willing to stay involved with the club because they love the club. And those type of people are very rare at a lot of clubs. You know, like when they're losing, they go, "Oh yeah, bugger that." You know, I'm going elsewhere. Well, fickle supporters, you know, and they're not ones you really want around your club. And the ones that abuse, and I was really disgusted with the booing. You know, I do not believe in booing the players. I believe if you don't think they did anything, just don't clap. You know, but don't boo your players because those supporters don't need to be there. They need to be out and about. Go to some other club, you know, but not stay at our club. So yeah, I think that's pretty crap. But yeah, the players, you know, like there's been a lot of great players at our club. It's just like inspirational. But yeah, Dougie, Dougie's pretty special with me. I love Dougie. So
yeah, whenever I talk to Dougie Chatty, he loves mentioning you, and his eyes light up every time. And now, do you know what? You've pretty much listed the who's who of Bulldogs, and I think if we had 2 hours on this podcast, you'd name a lot of them. So I absolutely love that passion, and I want to ask you this. You know, Collingwood have a certain type of supporters. Geelong have a certain type. You know, Carlton are a particular breed. What makes a Bulldog supporter the way they are? Because you know, most people say you epitomise the type of Bulldog supporter, but what is our DNA of a typical Bulldog supporter?
I just think I know like heaps and heaps of Bulldog supporters, and they're so passionate, so loving towards their players and their club. It's not just the players; it's the club. You know, you love the club, and I think any player, any person, supporter can be. They can be epitomised because, and they should be held special. All supporters should be held special if they're like members of it. They want to be a member of the club, not just a supporter, but they want to be a member so their money is helping the football club. I think that's really good. Become a social club member because that helps the club. You know, like certainly, you know, with a social club, you know, you get a priority on the grand final and the finals, but you don't do it for that because you mightn't make the bloody grand final. But your money is helping the club.
Yes.
You know, and I just think when you start following a club, any club in the league, but when you start following them and you keep going and you keep going and you say, oh, I want to be a member of this club because I want to be a part of it. And I actually said that when I was young. I said to Mum, I'm going to be a part of this club one day. And Mum goes, oh, you're not going to play in the field. No, I said, I'm going to be a part of it. And, you know, like when I could, I became a member, you know, when we got the job and money and that, I became a member of the club. And that's what you want. And I was with the cheer squad. It's just something, any person that really and truly loves their players, like I think they're all fame and great, you know, really, really terrific. I would have liked Terry Wheeler to have had a little bit longer in 1990. I loved him as a coach. I thought he was good. He just didn't get enough chance to show how great he was, But we got Terry Wallace, and that was unfortunate with Terry. I mean, I really believe we had that grand final. Tony believes it. Everyone believes it. Bloody umpires, they should have had the eye umpire then.
Yeah.
Not that it works every time, but still, it would have been great. And you know who I really like? Rodney Eade. He was he was a great coach. He really was, but not just a great coach, a great person. And you can have great coaches, but then they might not all be great people. But with our club, all our coaches have been great people besides. Like Luke and that. Luke spends the time to say hello and go around. Rodney, all of them, even Bluey Hampshire, when he was playing, he was great. I like Bluey. I used to go in the one arm band, like everyone did, I think. I got 1989 up here still, like it's, I don't know if anyone's got one of them, but I've got two. So I'm greedy. But, like it's awesome. Show your colours. I think you've got to show your colours of the club and support them that way too. Not walking down the street. I don't care if it's not football season. I'll wear Bulldog stuff. One of my friends said, "You wearing Bulldog stuff?" I said, "Because I love them. Why not show them off?" And I say, "Well, what the hell? If you don't want to show your club, too bad. I do." But it's a partier. It's your heart and soul, I reckon.
Oh.
So it's really good.
Irene, that's a magnificent answer. And look, you touched on 1989 just then, and you were obviously have been a passionate supporter for many years, but you became on the inside. You became part of the club, as you sort of said to your mum, in that year of 1989. It was a horrendous year for us on and off the field. We were in debt to the tune of $2 million that year, and things were going from bad to worse. And at the best and fairest evening in 1989 in Carlton, Dennis Gallimberti, our secretary, got up and announced that actually we're not looking good. We're going to be merging, and that sent shockwaves through the club. Irene, can you remember the first time you heard that news and what your reaction was?
Oh, I'll never forget it. I'll tell you, I was in the kitchen making a cup of tea with my mum and my dad, and young Kane was in the lounge watching TV. We were watching Channel 10 actually, and he started screaming out, Kane. Oh, what the hell's wrong with him? Nothing on TV to be screaming at. And he goes, we're gone. He's screaming, and I go, what? And I come up, and Mum came up behind us, and I'd had the Fitzroy and the Bulldogs emerging, and I said, oh, no bloody way. We're not going to have that. I said, Christ, they can't do that to us. What do we do with all our stuff? I don't want to be wearing Fitzroy on my jumpers and my scarves. Scrap that. And I said, no, we've got to do something about it. And Mum goes, Irene, it's done. I said, nothing is ever fully done. I said, look, I don't believe this can happen. I said, we'll think about what we can do. And Mum said, you can't do anything. She said, have a cup of tea. I said, I need more than a cup of tea, but I had a cup of tea. So anyway, I went to bed and I couldn't sleep because I thought, oh, this is crap. What are you going to do? You have to think of something to do. Like I was hoping everyone was trying to think of what to do to save our club. So I got up early. It was early in the morning, around 5:36, and I went into Mum and Dad and I said, I know what to do. And Mum goes, what about? I said, the club, what do you think? The club, we're going under and we can't go under. I said, look, the media gets you into trouble. I said, the media can get us out of trouble. So, and I said, I've never believed in protest. But I said, this morning, we have to protest. We have to get down to that bloody club. We have to fight. We have to do everything we can to save this club. And Mum goes, it won't work. I said, it will. Dad said it won't. I said, oh, what would Carlton supporters know? I said, because Dad's Carlton. I said, what would Carlton supporters know? So I started ringing around the radio stations, and I was so lucky. A few stations, I won't name them, they didn't, well, a couple of them not even there. That's how silly they were. If they'd taken us on, they probably would still be there today. But I said to them, I'd like to talk about the Bulldogs. We need to do something about it. Oh, you can't do nothing. It's all done. And then I rang 3AW. Clark Forbes, he listened, he said, now, what's your name? What do you want to do? And I told him, I said, I don't believe in protest. I want all this. He was exceptional. And Clark Forbes said, look, I'll tell you what, we'll get you on at 8:30 with Neil Mitchell. Neil Mitchell should be the ambassador of football in Australia because he is brilliant. Really, he is. Talking to Neil, he was like Clark Forbes. He listened to what you wanted to say. And I said, just everybody, drop everything, get down to the club and protest. And we need to protest fully. And well, by the time I got to the club, there was like hundreds there, and placards and God knows what. And this one bloke's going, oh, I was listening to the radio at work, and some shooter gets on the phone and says, get down there. And he said, I said to my boss, I've got to go. He said, I've got to go down to the club. And the boss, how nice of his boss, I would have liked to have known that guy's name, but he was brilliant. He said, my boss said, go, and you'll get paid for it. Don't worry.
Wow.
Good. Because to save his club. And he said, I dropped everything to come down because some cheerleaders on the phone. And good stuff, mate, good. And then they went, I didn't go to the AFL house, to protest. The others did, the cheer squad, which was extremely great. They're great. I was grateful that they wanted to get down there and do something for our club. And I spoke more to Neil, and Neil followed us right through, and then we organised the rallies and the tins. And I was taking Cameron Richardson, he like a superb man. Cameron Richardson picked me up here one morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. We went to Bendigo. We went down there with tins and buckets, trying to get all the money that we could to raise, for the club. And Bendigo people were brilliant. They put in so much money. They were great, like all Bulldog supporters. And the thing is, it wasn't all Bulldog supporters. It was a lot of, different other clubs, Collingwood and St Kilda and Richmond and Swans. It was great. But I used to hang around the club. I just, when it wasn't footy season, I'd hang around on the off. But I wanted to hang around to see if I could hear what was going on. Maybe just pick up one little thing to say we're safe. And so I'm down the club, and I kept going to the pink room, and it was a pink room down there. It used to have like meals and stuff, and all the. I knew they were pretty big people because they were all in suits, all in this corner. And I used to go every night and couldn't hear no bloody gossip. I was getting peeved off, And then this group's sitting over there, and they're all talking away. And at that time, I'd never met Dennis Gallenberti until that night. And, from there on, absolutely great. Good stuff. And, so anyway, they come over and said, one of them come over and said, are you a Bulldogs supporter or member? I said, well, was the Pope a Catholic? Of course I'm a Bulldog member. I said, God, what are you talking about? And they go, Irene, come over with us. These men want to see us. So, yeah, and Dennis said, we're trying to find someone who I had no idea what was coming. The next day I was like stoned, right, like shocked, like God knows what. He said we need a member to stand up and say we weren't asked, if we would agree with the merger and that, or if we could do anything. And I said, of course we will. Of course I will. No worries in the world. What do you want done? And he goes, Minister Peter Gordon's office in Footscray in the morning, Dennis and myself. And he said, we'll just sign a couple of papers and it'll be all right. I said, oh, great. No worries, all good. So I took Kane with me, who was the young fella, like I had him all the time here and I still know him, screaming, the dogs are gone. So I took him down with me, and I wasn't dressed like to go to court. I mean, Jesus, I just had my jeans and my red, white, and blue jacket on. So get down, and Peter said, oh, things have changed. I said, what? We've got to fight, And he goes, yeah. But you have to go to court today. I said, what? You got to be bloody kidding. He said, no, yeah. I said, well, I haven't lost in court yet, So, all right. I said, I'll go. So we went in, Dennis and myself, Peter went elsewhere, and Dennis and myself went to Tim Gannane's office in the city with Kane. And Kane thought it was great. He was getting potato chips and drinks and God knows what. He thought this is party time. It wasn't party time. And Tim said, things have changed. That they want to fight. They want to go to court and stand up. And you got him. And we were trying desperately to meet Peter, but he was pretty busy elsewhere. So Tim Gillane and Roger and that said, well, you have to go to court, and when you go in, just let the judge ask you questions and you answer just freely whatever you want to answer. And okay, no worries, all good. I didn't think anything about it. It's just a matter of go and yeah, and then sign and go. And I'm sitting there, and Roger comes over and he goes, "You nervous?" I said, "Well, of course I'm bloody nervous. I'm going in for our club today and we've got to win. If I say the wrong thing, we're gone." And he goes, "Oh, you need to sign a paper." I said, "Yeah, I'll do that after we've finished." No, you've got to sign it before. You've got to give up what you got. And, like, who's going to pay for it if you lose? I said, "Well, who gives a shit?" I said, "It doesn't worry me." I said, if you battle all your life, you just keep battling. If you lose, you lose.
So can I interrupt you there? Are you saying that you basically signed away if we were to lose your possessions, your home, what you had?
No, it wasn't my home. I don't know who put that around years ago, but I have said in a lot of the interviews and stories since that I didn't have a home. I rented. But what I signed over was my car, all my possessions, any monies I had in the bank, and my superannuation.
Wow.
Which was $252,000. So that was quite a lot of money to give away. That they said that when you come to get the money, if I'd lost, I would have had to pay that money to the courts. So 252,000 and so many cents. It was a lot of money, but who cares? I didn't care if I lost it all, if I had a chance to save our club. And well, we did save our club, and I kept my possessions. Although someone did fraud me years later and took half my insurance. So it's just something you do.
So
I don't know how anyone can not say I'm going to give my possessions up for your club, because it's my heart and soul, and I loved all the players, the club, all the people around, all the supporters, the friends. If you didn't have your club there, what would you do every week? You'd be, well, what the hell? What am I going to do today? Go to the bloody races or something, lose all your money? It didn't worry me. I said, I'll sign straight away. And Roger quickly ran out and got a paper and came back in. I've still got that paper in my shed, which I wasn't supposed to have, but because Peter said to me once, "You shouldn't have that." I said, "Well, they gave it to me. It's mine." I gave up to that.
That needs to go into the museum at the club, Irene. That's incredible for you to do that. And like, I understand that the judge then said, well, you know what, you guys have now got 3 weeks to raise the $1.5 million. That will keep you afloat. What did you say to the judge in order for them to make that decision?
Well, he just asked, was I informed that this was going to happen? Said, "You are a member?" I said, "Yes, I am a member. I have been a member for, like for so many years that I'd been." He said, "What were you informed by your president, Nick Collum, that this was going to happen, or by anyone at the club?" And I said, "No, I wasn't informed at all. And I believe, that we are viable and we can raise the money." I said, "We've been trying to raise money, and well, we had been trying to raise a lot of money. Yeah, we were doing buckets every weekend." And I was pretty pissed off because Nick Collum came to one of our members' nights, like the task force and all that, and he told us we were safe. He told all of us, keep rattling your buckets over the summer. We're safe. Well, he blatantly lied to us, and I thought, well, that's not good to lie to your supporters and your members who are trying best they can. I mean, half the time we weren't even seeing the damn game on the weekend because we were too busy raising money for the club. But we did it, and then Dennis done his business, and when the judge said it, I just said thank you very much. And I came out and I said to Joe Hall, one day is better than none, and tomorrow it's like a new day we're coming into. So it was really good. Joe Hall was great. She was a reporter. She was right outside the court straight away, and Dennis and I went in, and oh my God, it was just awesome. Just really, really terrific. But I'll tell you what, the main person who should get gratitude for everything is Stephen Palmer. I did say at the 15-year dinner, and I've said it many a time, but at the 15-year dinner, I said that Stephen Palmer should get the gratitude because Stephen, admittedly, Dennis broke the news, and and I went along and went to court. But if Stephen Palmer hadn't found that little tiny little bloody loophole, we'd have been down the tube sinking fast. And I reckon he hasn't got as much credit as he should. But
Right.
Stephen
So the loophole, correct me if I'm wrong, the loophole was that if members are not informed, then the league can't make that decision to make you insolvent or to merge.
exactly.
Correct? Yes.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So it was really good.
Stephen Palmer. Well, you know what? You gave us a fighter's chance. You gave us a sniff. We had 3 weeks to raise that money, and fight we did. Now, there was a man who was central to all this, and he was the sort of the demonic figure towards the Bulldogs at that time. It was Ross Oakley. Did you ever get a chance to meet that commissioner?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. He said he did say, it's good that the Bulldogs won. I said, yeah, we shouldn't have been in that position, and we should never have been in that position. Like Nick Collum and the board should have really been upfront with all the supporters and the members, and just to really, do something about it, and not come up to a meeting and say you're safe. Just keep doing the buckets. Well, what was the buckets for if we weren't safe? If he knew we were gonna. So yeah, and I've got one thing that makes me feel good for Ross Oakley up there. Up yours, Ross Oakley.
Absolutely, that needs to go on your scarf, Irene.
Yeah, they are. I've got 110. All the players that are first and reserves on my scarf. I respect them and love them, and so they're out there doing their thing as best as they can. So why not be showed off?
Now, I want to take you to October the 8th of 1989. It was the day of the famous rally. You've just mentioned Ross Oakley. Now, Ross jumped on the TV the morning of the 8th, and he tried to put a dampener on things. It was already raining outside that day, and there were a lot of fears that Bulldog supporters wouldn't even turn up. Ross got on there and said, well, actually, it's more like 5.3 million that the Dogs owe. And, and that could have extinguished anyone's hope. But the sun came out, and so did those Doggy supporters. Irene, can you tell us about that day and the emotion attached?
Well, the thing was to get there early for car parking and everything, and people were doing it. They were there from morning till really late in the afternoon. After the rally, people were standing around because they didn't really want to leave. It was just like awesome. But I had no doubt that we'd, pouring rain or not, we would get supporters there, because it didn't matter if you're going to be going to be wet. Who cares? If you were helping your club survive, it doesn't matter. I mean, you go to the game and get bloody wet watching the footy, don't you? God. So I went there, and Peter was there and everything. But the supporters that were getting up to talk were incredible. And John Grealish, he's a Collingwood supporter. He was, unfortunately, he's passed away now, but he was exceptional. No car, no nothing. Public transported, and every day he was at the drill hall going in and out, with the tins, rattling them, bringing them back full. And he was there that day, and he said, you know what, if this ever happens to Collingwood, I hope they all stand up for our club, because this is exceptional that this would happen. And he was there, and, like Richmond, Sakura, Demons, everybody was there, every club. But what stood out was one South Melbourne supporter. He got up. He was incredible, emotional, and saying he wished this had happened for the football club, the South Melbourne Footy Club, not to become swans. It was disappointing, and you sort of felt emotional for him to know that, well, what we've been going through is bad, but he lost his club, and all the people, the notoriety people that they had, they should have all put in and saved that club. It would have been great. My uncle Arnold, he was and Annie Joyce, they were both South Melbourne, right? And he still said Bloods to the day he passed away. It was always the Bloods. He never said Swans. It was always South Melbourne. Oh, the Bloods. The Bloods are doing. Oh, the Bloods have lost. The Bloods are winning. But that rally was exceptional, and I think that made everybody wake up. That all these people can turn up, not just Bulldog supporters, but every single person could turn up and fight for their club that we know was great and would be great again. And, like 89 was bad and the coach left us, and which was shit. You needed that like group gathering, the emotion that was there, like it was inspirational. Everyone's emotions were filling out, and they were buying memorabilia and up your Oakley stickers, and like it was just terrific. All the money that they put in to help save our club that day was like the ants pants. It was like the best thing that ever happened to our club. And 89 was, besides the 54 premiership, 89 was the thing that made our club wake up, stand up and be counted. And no one can ever take that away from us. We're there forever and stuff everyone else if they don't like it, I reckon.
Beautifully said, Irene. It was a true David and Goliath, and you were the warrior in the middle of it. There's no doubt about that. Did EJ and or Charlie or any of the greats come up to you to congratulate you and thank you for everything you did?
Oh, hell yeah. Charlie Sutton, he was just such a great little fella, like I loved him to pieces. We often spoke right through, and unfortunately when he passed away, we were at the funeral, and his wife Chubb, she was just brilliant. But Charlie's family and Charlie come up and he said, "You've done a great job for our club and we're going to be there all the time." Teddy Whitten, when I was named number one member, female member, Teddy Whitten shook my hand down at Williamstown, nearly broke it. I'm like, Jesus, I'm only a little peafart, and he's got this big hand squashing the hell out of mine. And he said, "Thanks for everything, Irene." I said, I appreciate that, Teddy. He said, no, it's well meant. I said, "I know, and I thank you so much." He was great. And I've had a lot of interactions with Teddy over the years. He was really brilliant, a brilliant fella, brilliant player. I just wish he hadn't have stopped in pouring rain that day. But everyone, I wish he'd kept going on with the footy and coaching, because I really believe that Teddy would have taken us to a premiership one day too, maybe the next year, But that's how it happens at the Dogland. They go too early and don't get a chance to do it. But Luke was given the chance to do it, and he did it, and he'll do it again too. Just got to give him a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Irene, you saved the club, and 1990. Yeah, we all saved it. Absolutely.
And after the Fightback, I decided to run a trash and treasure market at the drill hall. So we did that for a couple of years till I got pretty crook and couldn't do it. But the Rotary Club, they were just like, at Footscray Rotary Club, they were brilliant. They gave me the tables every week so I could have it, and a couple of chairs. And so we just charged $10 a stall. And then at the end of the Friday night, we used to do it once a month, but we'd fill the hall with trash and treasure people, trying to raise money for the club. And then I'd give it to Linda, who would give it to Dennis, who would give it to the trust. It was just awesome.
And 1990, round one came along. Can you tell us about your pride when you're sitting there? I imagine you would have been somewhere, front and centre amongst all the Bulldog faithful. How was it watching Dougie Hawkins lead the club out for the new chapter of our history?
It was, you won't believe, 1990, that first day, I was very lucky to be at that game. I'd been in hospital very, very sick. And Dennis Gallenberti, I was at John Faulkner Private Hospital, and Peter and Dennis come over to see me at the hospital, and Stevie McPherson, I should mention him. He was exceptional. He came to the hospital to see me, and I was very sick, and we didn't think I'd get out for the game. And Dennis said to the hospital, "We will take her in an ambulance and have her backed in so she can see the game if she can't get out." And he really meant it, and he was going to do that. And that morning, on the Saturday morning, Dennis come over and he goes, "I've got everything prepared." I said, "It's all right. I'm going to walk. I'm going to get there myself on two legs." And I did. And, it was unbelievable. But to see them running out was like, shit, we made it. Yeah, it was like, this is what it was all about. 89 October was all about coming out on the ground today and being there. And, you know, like, okay, we got thrashed in the first game, bloody hell. But I was up at the president's lunch, but I said, I had the lunch there. And then I said, I've got to go downstairs and sit in the pocket where I always sit. I said, I've got to be with the supporters. I can't sit up here with the, you know, all the hierarchy. I got to be with the supporters because they gave. So I walked around the ground. Yeah, so I went over into the pocket. I used to sit in the pocket. I said to Dougie, I was on that wing before you because I was in the pocket and you're on the wing. Because we used to sit in front of the scoreboard, and we'd been sitting there for donkey's years. So I went around and everyone said, yeah, I'm glad you came out to us. I said, I would not. And it was like just a great day. I was disappointed we lost, but I knew we'd come back. And I was so peeved off. I'd been to done Sydney all those years, you know, watching us get beat by Sydney Swans up there. And I couldn't go to the game because I was, you know, still pretty ill. And we down one. Yeah, it was our first win in 11 years over Sydney, the second game. And all the supporters would know then, this is the Dogs of the future. This is the Dogs that are going to keep fighting. They've beaten Sydney for the first time in 11 years. That's why we won last year. That's why we won, so we can keep winning. So what if we lost the first match? You know, the players would have been overawed and like, you know, thinking, geez, you know, we're doing this, we're coming out, we're finally here. It was great, you know. So that game will always be etched in my memory because it was so good. And two, Tony Liberatore that year, our great little fella, he got his Brownlow. I mean, we got into the four. So, you know, we stuck it right up them, as Teddy would say. We did. We just said, well, you know, we're the team of the future. You've all backed us last year. Now we will stand up for you this year. So we got into the four, over beaten Sydney. And then Tony gets the Brownlow. I mean, that was tremendous to see Tony Liberatore get the Brownlow because he done deserved it well. And I reckon Tom will get one day too because Tom's just as great.
Here's hoping. Here is hoping, Irene, and you know, that never would have happened, would it? And these are the you know, the moments in history that you know, we would never have experienced had October '89 not have happened. And I want to ask you, we often speak to many greats here on this podcast on Inside the Kennel, and recently we had the great Ricky Kennedy on board, and we
punched the ball like hell.
Oh, did he what? And he was talking about '89 and talking about you, and the conversation turned to the Hall of Fame at the club, and often it's reserved for, you know, great players of our club. But Rick and Dougie's also said the same. Why not Irene Chatfield? Would you accept if you were elevated or entered into the Hall of Fame at our club?
It would be the best thing that ever happened to me in my life, I reckon, because I would be a real part of the club then. It would. I'm a part of the club now because I'm a life member, thanks to David Smorgan. I mean, he was a great president. It'd be good one day to see him back maybe. But yeah, he gave me my life membership, and Peter Gordon gave me a President's Award, his first one that he gave. But yeah, to be in the Hall of Fame, I would just think that was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yes, well, we know that Amit Bains, our CEO, is an avid watcher of this program and is a subscriber for the podcast. So, Amit, if you're watching, Irene Chatfield, 2024, we'd love to see her in the Hall of Fame. Every Bulldog supporter will be absolutely punching the air with delight if that happens. And make it happen, please, because, you know, you're one of a kind.
Thank you so much, Matthew. I appreciate that. I really do.
Well, we mean it, absolutely. And look, we want to just touch on 2016.
Yeah.
You know, like 1954, 62 years later, you know, we tasted the glory and the success. Can you walk us through your own personal emotions and experience of that day, please?
Oh, absolutely. But first off, I knew we'd beat West Coast because we had all our players back, 5 players back, and I said, oh, West Coast are gone. We'll kick them because of our players were superb, and you knew damn well. And then just to go on with, I had no idea why the other teams were trying to get in, because they had no hope, no hope. I knew we would win right through. I had no qualms about it. And the experience to go to GWS and beat them that day was like unbelievable. 10 of us, Liz and Travis were driving most of the time. We all hired, 10 of us hired a van, and we travelled up, and, like you see the convoy of all the supporters, going up busloads and carloads. And we left Kmart and Campbellfield at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we got to the ground at 10 to 3 in the afternoon. Like absolutely superb. And Travis and Liz did great driving to get up there. But the emotion, like, going up there singing the song, and when you just got out the bus to know within a few hours you're going to be going into the grand final. The emotion that was in you, it was like you couldn't help feeling like, Jesus, this is it. This is do or die today, and it's going to be a do. I had no qualms that we would beat GWS. And I was sorry for Leon, because I love Leon, but, that happens. You got to get the winners, and we were the winners. So, and the winners. And so we got after it, like everyone's so happy. We were all just standing around and congratulating each other and saying how great and all that, and cheering the players off. Like it was sensational. Tori Dixon getting that last mark, it was like, whoa, Jesus, it could be another goal. Wasn't, but still, that was enough to win. And like, I love Tori. He was such a good player, great player actually. But you just couldn't, you didn't want to leave, because you want to make sure all the players are off the ground. You want to see them go off the ground, and we all sang the songs and clapped and cheered, and it was just like unbelievable how you felt. It was like, give us a Jack Daniels quick, we need it. And but we didn't. And then we all got back to the bus, and we all said, let's go straight away, because we had a mission. It was to get back in time to change, shower, and go and see the reserves win. And my sister and I did that, because she met me down at Glenroy, and we off we go. We came back, and everyone on the bus said, yeah, we'll see you at the game. We're going to the reserves. We drove all the way to make sure we got back to Kmart to get picked up by everyone that was picking us up. My brother picked me up, and we shot home, showered, changed, picked up Judy, and Judy and I off to the footy and saw a great win with the reserves. Like, it was a sensational 2 days, one you could never forget. There's been so many great days at our club, not just great ones like finals and all that, but like things that you'll remember, like Teddy walking off the ground when his last game. But Dougie Hawkins coming back after Collingwood smashed his leg, like, I reckon he would have definitely won the Brownlow that year, Dougie Hawkins, absolutely, because he was the best ever. And Collingwood fell on his knee, and I reckon they did that deliberately right in front of us. And then when Dougie came back, it was like sensational. It's days like that you remember, and you never forget them. And but that grand final, like, preliminary finals right through, it was just like, it's like I probably could have lost some weight jumping up and down in that finals. I mean, God, but it was just awesome. And to do it with your friends and your sister and my godson Glenn, is my best buddy. To do it with who you love is even more important. And you got your friends, your family, and like, it's just a great feeling of achievement. I think that you finally got there. It was well worth it. 89 was worth it right through all the pain and suffering that you went through. Way worth it when you get a grand final.
Yes, and we recently had Danny Delray on, and he said he was in the outer on grand final day, and said when after the siren went, he had supporters coming from everywhere hugging him and saying, "We did it," and you were part of it, Danny.
Absolutely.
Is that how you felt? Were you embraced by the Bulldog Army?
Yeah, and not only that, I felt so sorry for the players that didn't get a grand final. And like in 97, when we came so close, 85, like with Mickey that time, it was just like you came so close. And and all these players would still be grateful that we got a premiership for them how they played all those years kept us going. And then all new players come and new players. And to get that game was not just for the supporters and not for the players on the field, but for all players that had not quite made it. I think that was a great day. And, you just have to have some sense of gratitude that for the players on the field and for all the players that lost, that didn't quite make it. Like, Tony Levertoy, would have been good to see him, have a premiership, or Dougie Hawkins, Leon, Chris Grant, like all of them. Gary Dempsey, it's just Barry Round, all of them. Or Barry Round got one up in that town.
Yes, well, Brad Johnson was on recently, and he said even though he didn't take to the field, just like Bob Murphy, that day was a celebration for all of us, and that cup belongs to us.
Oh, absolutely. I felt so sad for Bobby that day, and for Mitch Wallace. Mitch Wallace too. They both couldn't make it after all their great playing and career, and to think this has happened, busted legs through the year. It was just so sad. It really was, because you saw the pain in Mitch and in Bobby, the players that just didn't make it. And I was hoping for another year to get them, for maybe the next year or something like that. But unfortunately, never made it.
Yes.
Still got another chance.
We have indeed. And when you go to the club these days, Irene, are you remembered by the players? Are you embraced? Are you recognised? What does Bevo sort of say to you? I'd love to hear how you're taken in.
Yes, the players do, and Bailey, definitely does. All the players do. They all remember, and they've always congratulated me and thanked me, and just thanked me for coming to training. Like Bolton did on Thursday, it was just exceptional. He had Lauren come and take me through so I could get through to training, and which was great because I was running late as usual. And so it was good. And Bailey Smith came up and thanked me after I was on the front bar, and I said which I thought was great, a young guy. A lot of people knock Bailey, but I like Bailey Smith. I think he's down to earth, and he's a thorough gentleman, because he came up to the boundary line at training and thanked me for going to court and for saving the club. He said, thanks for going to court, saving the club, and for doing it for us players. I mean, I thought that was great. He didn't have to do that. And but on the front bar was when I said, I did it for the players to see them in the red, white and blue, which I did. I want to see them all in their red, white and blue jumpers again and next year, because I did not want not to see them. I would never have followed another side ever. If you're passionate about your own club, there's no way you could go the next year and say, oh, come on, Fitzroy, I'll get lost. No way.
Listen, before we let you go, how would you like to be remembered by the club? Look, when people look back in the future and say, who was Irene Chatfield, how would you like to be remembered?
Just as a very passionate supporter that loved her club. And the fellas, especially the fellas.
You would say that, and absolutely. Well, you talked about being part of the club. You certainly are. It's been an honour of the highest measure for us to be in your company, to hear your incredible story, Irene. Without you, the Bulldogs don't exist. It's as simple as that. And the lives of so many Bulldog supporters have been, changed forever. So we really want to thank you for your spirit, your courage, and your Bulldog fight, really, so that generations of Bulldog supporters are going to have this magnificent club to belong to. Thank you so much, Irene Chatfield.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all your good words and what you're doing for the club too, by letting all the players talk and myself personally too, which I do appreciate greatly. Thank you very much, Matthew. I appreciate it, and I love you too.
Love to hear that. All the best, ladies and gentlemen, Irene Chatfield.
Go Dogs!
Red in my heart, white in my veins, blue in my eye, red, white, and blue in my brain. I'm Bulldog.